Gun control is just around the corner in the United States. Goodbye, Second Amendment rights. Gun control is just around the corner in the United States. Goodbye, Second Amendment rights. Thank you for tuning in to Laurel with the Black Political Buzz Network. Gun control is being pushed very hard right now in the United States of America. You know, we've had what appears to be one mass shooting after the other over a period of, 9 to 10 years. More so the last 7 years. Just recently, we had the mass shooting event that occurred in Orlando, Florida at the Pulse Gay nightclub this past Saturday night. We've had the San Bernardino shooting. We've had the Newtown, Connecticut mass shooting. There's been one mass shooting event after the other for the past 7 years, but actually the past 9 years, but more frequently within the past 7 years in our nation on American soil. So President Obama and many members of Congress are pushing very hard now for gun control in this nation. You know, and because of that, Second Amendment rights, Second Amendment constitutional rights is threatened. Now hear me out very clearly. Hear me very clearly before you begin to make an assumption about where I stand. Don't assume that you know where I stand on this subject, because you may be wrong. Now, I'm all for American citizens legally being able to own a weapon if they complete and pass a criminal background check and a mental health background check. That's right, I'm gonna say it again. I am all for American citizens being able to own a weapon if they complete and legally pass a criminal background check and a mental health background check. Yes, mental health background check. I'm going to say it a third time. If they also pass a mental health background check. And they have a history, or they can show where they're going to be using that weapon responsibly. Because you have to use the weapon responsibly in order to own the weapon. If you're going to do all that, then keep your Second Amendment rights intact. But there's no guarantee that even if you pass a criminal background check and a mental health background check, there's no guarantee you're going to use that weapon responsibly. A weapon is a non-living object. A gun or a high-powered assault rifle, a weapon is a non-living object. That gun does not have a brain, a mind, eyes, a mouth, emotions, a heart, hands, feet. It's a non-living object. That weapon, that gun only becomes a danger when it's placed in the hands of a human being who will use it irresponsibly, be that an adult or a child, be it an adult or a child. Because it's human beings who have hands and feet and emotions and a heart and a mind and eyes. So that weapon becomes a dangerous weapon when placed in the wrong hands. So your argument about Second Amendment rights remaining intact, you've got to prove that argument. You can't get out here and be angry at President Obama, because, let's not forget, President Obama is our sitting president whom I respect, but he's not in control. I repeat, President Obama is not in control. The Bilderberg Group is basically running this nation. I don't care what y'all say. The Bilderberg Group is a group of real individuals, real human beings, who are the wealthiest human beings on planet Earth. No, they're not God. They're not God. They just think they're God because they have so much money. And a lot of them have Europe. A lot of those members of the Bilderberg Group have a European influence. They have a European mindset and influence. And they want the United States to be a weaponless, a gunless society. I repeat, the Bilderberg Group wants the United States to be a weaponless, a gunless society, with the exception of the law enforcement officials and the military. So the only people the Bilderberg Group and many members of Congress and President Obama want to have weapons, meaning guns and rifles, are law enforcement officials and the military. That's it. Now, I'm not opposed. I don't stand either way. I don't stand either way on this subject matter. I'm neutral right now on the idea of gun control and the idea of supporting Second Amendment rights. I'm neutral right now because we have had so many mass shootings. We do have gang violence. We do have people who are mentally ill passing criminal background checks and getting weapons and then killing, shooting up people. We do have people like Dylan Roof, remember him? Who had a felony, but still got his hands on a gun and went into a black church to shoot up 9 people in Charleston, South Carolina. About a year or so ago. We do have people coming over here like the ISO guy, the guy who's a member of ISO, Omar Mateen, who just killed 50 plus people at a gay nightclub, the Post gay nightclub in Atlanta last Saturday night. So where do I stand? I'll say this. Gun control is definitely needed in cities like Atlanta, Georgia, and Chicago, Illinois. I'm going to say it again. I'll repeat. I believe that gun control should be enacted immediately in cities like Chicago, Illinois, and Atlanta, Georgia, where they have so many, shooting deaths almost on a daily basis. And we have the mentally ill in this country who are getting their hands on guns, but they're passing a criminal background check. So I don't know where I stand on this issue, because the issue of gun control and the Second Amendment is a very sensitive, dangerous, touchy subject in the United States. And people will become angry at you and try to shoot at you if you advocate one way or the other. So I'm going to stay neutral. But I will say this to you. American citizens, do not be foolish. Do not go out here and get angry at President Obama and try to do that man some harm. I'm urging you to not be a fool. President Barack Obama Jr. is still our sitting president. He's still our sitting president. Do not try to harm that man in any way, because it will be to your own destruction and your demise if you try to harm that man in any way. And I'm just telling you now. I don't agree with everything President Obama says and does, but I don't want to see him harmed. I repeat, I do not agree with everything President Obama says or does, but I don't want to see him harmed. So don't be a fool. If you want to advocate for Second Amendment rights, let's do it in decent and in order. Let's be wise and do it in decent and in order. For example, peaceful protests, peaceful approved protests on Capitol Hill. On Capitol Hill. Contacting your members of Congress, your U.S. senators, calling your U.S. senator's office or the office of your U.S. Congress members in the House. Writing letters to your U.S. Congress members. And don't put any kind of powder mess in them to try to scare somebody, because that's stupid. And then going to the polls in November. Go to the polls in November of 2016 and cast your ballot for the right candidate. But do not do anything stupid using violence. Do not do anything that's going to, create more violence in this nation. And many people will argue that guns are the culprit of violence. But don't forget, like I said earlier in this conversation, guns are a non-living object. That gun or that weapon only becomes dangerous when it's placed in the hands of an irresponsible human being, be it an adult or a child. That's when it becomes a danger. So it's not, guns don't kill people. People who use guns irresponsibly kill people. Guns don't kill people. People who use guns irresponsibly kill people. And I am not talking about the military. The military, in my eye, does not use guns irresponsibly. Most police officers, I didn't say all police, but most police officers do not use guns irresponsibly. You only have a few bad apples in the barrel. You only have a few bad cops in the barrel. Most cops use guns responsibly. So right now, I'm not going to take a stand. But I do believe we do need to enact some form of gun control in cities like Chicago, Illinois, and Atlanta, Georgia. And that's where I stand. Gun control in the United States is just around the corner. Goodbye, Second Amendment rights. Thank you for tuning in to Laurel with the Black Political Buzz Network. Goodbye.